Does a person with 477 subscribers have to point out that this is not a sponsored video? Yellow paint. I'm going to review some yellow paint today. It's in this wrapper. Let's get it open. Specifically, Liquitex Heavy Body Professional. Liquitex Professional Heavy Body Cadmium Yellow Medium. Now, what qualifies me to review this yellow paint, you ask? Or maybe you don't, but I'm asking. Well, I get through a good amount of yellow paint. So these are probably the first paints I used, and they are the Daler Rowney, and they are graduate grade, which is not quite artist grade, or which I think is professional. Maybe Liquitex goes even higher and has artist grade, I don't know. But these are graduate grade, which means they have a bit more filler and a bit less pigment in them, I guess, overall. But to be honest, it's a minimal difference. So if you're a beginner, this stuff's good. Then I moved on to Golden, the expensive stuff. Golden Artists Acrylics. These come in different grades as well. All three of these are the Artist Acrylics. So I've used Primary Yellow and Hansi Yellow, which is a bit cheaper, and Primary Yellow is a bit cheaper than Cadmium Yellow, which is the most expensive, just because of the cadmium, I guess, that's required to make it. And I like those paints, but this alone here represents over £60 worth of paint, which is greater than my net earnings of art sold by a factor of 3, probably. And yes, so that's why it should probably stay a hobby. And so I thought, well, this one's a bit cheaper, £13.97 for a good Amazon price there. And so significantly cheaper than about £23 or £20, depending on which one of the Golden ones you buy. And if you go graduate acrylics, you can pick up like a whole set of like 20 paints for about that price. So if you're starting with acrylic paint, just start with this stuff. It's minimally different. The colours from this are better, definitely more intense, but I'm not sure the passerby would notice. So I'm going to try this one today. I'm going to do it on card, because I got some card. I think I'm going to leave some white around the background and try and, do you know when skilled artists just sort of scribble some paint on and it looks like it's been done really purposefully, but kind of freely as well? I'm going to try and do that. Leave a bit of white around the edges. If that goes wrong, we'll figure something else out. But I'm going to start with that, and then we're probably going to do a bit of black and other things on top again, just to make it a bit more of an interesting painting. And got 2 brushes. I think I'll probably use this one to start with. Now, it's heavy body, which means it's thick. You can get different thicknesses of paint. You can get runny paint, and you can get heavy body paint. I don't think they're calling it runny paint. High flow and such. But this, I would say straight away, is thinner, less buttery than this stuff, which feels more like oil paint. So first thing I've noticed, more flowy, but is holding its shape. So that's kind of cool. Now, I'm going to spray a tiny bit of water on that because I've got a large area to cover. Although something tells me that really I should just get in there, shouldn't I, and see how it paints without putting water in. I'm like, it's a nice colour. It's very yolky. And it definitely is leaving brush marks in there. So it's definitely got a heavy body feel to it. So that's nice. I'm smelling it as well. It's actually got an interesting smell, much like the modelling medium that Liquitex make, which has got a very unique smell. That's very neutral smell, quite pleasing, but very neutral. This has got a, yeah, it's the same as the modelling medium. I guess they're putting a bit of whatever they're putting that to thicken it up. And I would say that might annoy some people, but I like that. It smells good. Right. A little bit of water. Using the brush that I said I wasn't going to use. This is how it works on this channel. I'm liking it. I like the colour. It's very, very vibrant, which is good. Yeah. It's a very nice yellow. It's not as lemony as that one that I used over there, which I think was a primary yellow. But we're not really comparing colours here, because every brand is going to be different in terms of colour, isn't it? So what we're kind of comparing is how it works, how strong and impactful, I guess, the colour looks, and the smell. The smell could be quite important, couldn't it, if you're working in a house or something rather than a studio, or if you're spending a long time in there. It's not overpowering me. All right. So it dries pretty quick, but I think it probably dries a little bit slower than the golden, which I mean, generally speaking, with acrylics, I think that is good because they dry so fast. Just a little bit of something there. Let's get that off. That's probably dirt off of this brush. If I'm not cleaning my brushes properly, you should always clean your brushes properly. Okay, quite like that. Now let's put a bit of water into here, and then around the edges we can go in and make it almost like a much finer wash. Now that paint's very nice indeed, I would say. So thin down, it's working really nice. Actually, I think that mix is a bit nicer than when you put water into the heavy body Goldens. Golden will probably argue that you would buy their flow paints or their thinner paints and not taint their heavy bodies with water. But you know, you're trying to mix things, you know, you're doing different things, aren't you? Sometimes you just be like, oh, throw a bit of water in there. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. It dries very evenly as well with the water in. Let's put a bit more. I get through more yellow paint than any other paint. I don't know why. I don't claim to have a favourite colour when people ask, but I guess it must be yellow because that's the paint that seems to go first. It's looking nice. Try and make it a bit more sort of lighter towards the edges. Put that down there. Went on pretty easy, really. And I would say, not use too much. Maybe to do that, if I was guessing, somewhere between 25 and 50p's worth of the paint. So not too bad there, really. Now, so I've got the yellow there. I've got to think what I'm going to do on it now. Black is the obvious choice for me for the contrast. I think I'm going to use my knitting needles again. Do something similar to that, but a bit more minimalist, a bit more minimalistic. Yeah, let's do that, see what happens. Right, this is Liquitex Basics, and I get this because I use loads of black, and to be honest, seems fine. Not really sure what the professional one will be bringing to the table that this one's not, but I suppose until I've tried them, I couldn't really comment. So yep, let's put a bit of the black on. I've got a little knitting needle here, double pointed knitting needle. I'm going to pour that, I'll just pour that straight into the yogurt lid down here. Right. I would say actually the heavy body acrylic is not much different to their Basics acrylic in terms of how well it's holding its. This is a little bit thinner, but not massively so. So, I mean, the name, it's in the name, isn't it? I guess Liquitex. I think they're not really trying to be too heavy-bodied. I've got a portrait piece of paper, so I'm going to go kind of portrait-y vertical lines to start. It's just nice to paint once a week at the minute. It's very towards late spring, early summer now. There's lots of outdoor things to be doing, socialising, garden stuff. And it just makes doing art a little bit harder to do in a way, because there's other things to be doing that are great as well. But I am going to stick to arting every week, and these videos help me do that. So, and to be fair, once you sit down and you start doing it, then you immediately get into the zone and start enjoying yourself. The difficulty comes with having to film it as well and make content as well, because then that adds a whole extra dimension to it. But I like making content as well. I'm sort of tempted now just to get the brush as well and just do something a bit daft. Like that. Right. Get some paint here as well and just pull it with a knitting needle, make some motion, the idea of some motion there. I suppose the black does separate a bit and go a bit green. So that might be one reason why cheaper blacks could cause trouble. I'm getting an interesting vibe here. I've almost got a kind of figure here. And then some, I don't know, it's feeling war-zoney to me. Like explosion, figure, maybe even a bit of a rifle there. Let's might try adding some red. So the red I'm using is a golden acrylic swamp, heavy body, cadmium red. Let's get some on here onto the brush. Where am I going to put it? I think I'm going to streak up here. I mean, when you put this stuff on, it is noticeably, like the yellow of the Liquitex stuff was good, but when you put this stuff on, it's like kind of sends your eyes crazy. It's that sort of intense. So I think there is a difference. I think there is a reason why you might opt to spend bit more. So if we think of this in terms of colour fields rather than it looking like something, I've got the red here and I've got the yellow in the background, and then the black's kind of creating the structure. So I think this bit here, if we're going to really force a yellow as a background colour, we need something here. So I'm going to use the primary cyan and use this blade, and I'm just going to pull some of the cyan on. Now, because it's probably a little bit translucent, the cyan, not 100% opaque, it's probably going to create some green vibes with the yellow background. So let's see. Yeah, a little bit. I think that's pretty good for that. Now, using black, strengthen out the horizon line with the black, and I think I'll just do that with the knitting needle. And then I am going to use the brush to fill out this figure a bit in black, and then we're going to be pretty much done, I think, for this review of yellow paint. I think, to be fair, it's worth saying at this point, this yellow's good, but there's a je ne sais quoi to the golden artist acrylics that there's an extra level of intensity there that you don't seem to get in the Liquitex paint. So that is worth noting. But I think for backgrounds, the Liquitex is great, especially the way it covered it so quickly. And then I think the red from the golden acrylics is super intense. Right, let's get this horizon done. So just paint quite heavily. I'm going to paint the black on, because I want a kind of splodgy affair on here. And splodgy affair is what I've got. Can we pull that down a bit? Does that add? I think maybe it does a bit. Yeah, it pulls a bit of the red through as well. It's kind of nice. And then a bit on this side. And now we'll do the figure a bit more. I'm pulling quite a heavy amount of paint to try and make it look loose and splodgy and not very brush-like, I guess. So you don't really see that a brush is thinned out. Minutes. Okay, that's the painting. Start to finish about 40 minutes. Nice little play, nice little study. It's kind of, I guess if I'm going to describe it, there's a soldier here, and there's chaos and war and death in the background, and it's just sort of marching onwards off to the edge of the scene. Don't know where that came from, just painted paint on the card, and that's what happened. So in some ways that's what I'm always aiming for when I paint, rather than sitting down and say, I think I'll paint a bee today or something like that, you know. I just like to go and then see what happens, and that's what happened today anyway. I can recommend all the paints, quite frankly. If you've got the money, get the expensive ones. If you haven't, don't, or any mixture of any of those things really. I think you'll just enjoy painting. And yeah, Liquitex professional paint's decent. See you next time.